Hey everybody, this is Josh and a little more Excelsior coaching. So I want to talk about something I've been thinking about for a really long time. The word if. So I've noticed this really bad pattern, especially when I'm online, just scrolling, those comments that we should all stay out of. And I hear it in real life too. And it's a lot of if speak, especially among men. If you were stronger, this would have happened. If you handled your business, then that. If you were this, if you were that, if you were a real man, all of those things. And sometimes it can be disguised as wisdom, and sometimes it's disguised as accountability, and sometimes it's to help. But if we're really being honest, it's a lot of blame. And it's a lot of an attack. It's a lot of men hurting each other and doing these things that are alarming. I saw a comment about a guy talking about he doesn't know what to do, he's losing his wife, all these things, and all these men are just like, suck it up and make it work, and just all these crazy things. And I just, my blabbers are gassed at this point because it's just so normal to tell guys, if if you're a real man, your wife wouldn't cheat on you. If you're a real man, your kids would love you. You can do all the right things, and that could still not be the case. So there's no such thing as if you were this or if you were that. That's just a lot of blaming, and it breaks my heart because we're human beings, man. We're all human beings, and we feel pain, we feel fear, and we feel that heartbreak and exhaustion. I'm exhausted right now. I could go into massive amounts of detail about why I'm just, but for another time. But we feel pressure. We do all these things like women do. We feel all of this stuff, and somewhere along the line, we were taught that it's not acceptable to show anything that isn't anger. I, when I'm with clients, I'll talk about, men, we're allowed to be happy, we're allowed to be angry, we're allowed to be excited, but we can't show anything deeper than that. We can't be sad, we can't be afraid, we can't be anything but that. And then we wonder why men are breaking internally. We wonder why we're depressed and anxious and all this other stuff is going on. A lot of men have grown up believing that their value is tied to performance. How much can you provide? What do you produce? How useful are you? How tough are you? How much can you endure? All this without breaking. We're not allowed to break. And if a man starts to struggle, if he is struggling, we question his worth. The women in your life may question your worth. The other men in your life may question your worth. He loses his job. Well, you should have worked harder. Sucks to be you, stupid. You know, his marriage is falling apart. Well, you picked wrong, or you weren't strong enough for her. Your mental health is declining. Man up, suck it up, and get over it. We are told to get over it way, way too often. If you cry, you're soft, you're weak, you're a woman. And where did that come from? That is so stinking dangerous. I remember when I was maybe 11 or 12, I remember I just felt depressed. I don't know why. To this day, I don't know. And I vocalized it. I'm feeling kind of depressed. And the only response I got was, what do you have to be depressed about? I didn't. vocalize that for the longest time. And most people don't know this, but I spent my entire teens and 20s clinically depressed, and I had nobody to go to. It affected decisions, it affected actions, it affected my outlook on everything. And it was bad and it was scary. Um, because he was just like, I just detailed men, we're going to stop speaking. And it's not because we don't feel the pain, it's because nobody cares. You know, they don't really care about the failings in that area and they'll defend themselves. A lot of men, truthfully, we don't need another lecture. I don't need another lecture. I don't need someone saying, Josh, we need to talk. I don't need to sit here and say, boy, sit down. We must converse. I don't need any of that. You guys don't need any of that. My sons don't need any of that. It's really just, we've heard it all before. And there's a difference between connection and condemnation. There's a difference, between what connection says. And it says, you're struggling. Let's figure it out. Condemnation says you're struggling. That's because you suck. Um, too many men are they're receiving the condemnation. In all honesty, too much condemnation and not enough understanding, not enough love, not enough response. I was just talking to my wife about it, and I was telling her, there are days when I just can't. Don't feel good. I don't want to do this today. I don't want to get up and go to work and deal with all that mess. I want to sleep. I want to rest. I want to come home and not have to deal with chaos and arguing and fighting because the kids are at each other's throats. And we suppress all that. Thankfully, my wife is understanding enough. I'm blessed with that she understands that I need that understanding and I need to be heard just as much as she does. That I need to be able to have those vulnerable moments just as much as she does. There are times when, what, I got to put my big boy pants on and be strong for a while, but later it's time to break down. And we're just taught to suppress it. Don't talk about it. Don't feel it. Don't struggle publicly. And here's the thing, handle it by yourself. I've had guys come to me, I don't believe in therapy. I don't believe in coaching. I don't believe in this stuff. What's not to believe in? What's wrong with you, man? And I'm kidding about that part. But we're taught to respond that way. We're taught to think that way. And it's so dangerous. It's so toxic. the the majority of the people that take their lives are men. Because at some point we just don't see another way out. We can't silence it. We can't heal from the pain because we're not allowed to feel the pain. It's like walking around on a broken leg. That's not going to help you. That's not going to help me or anyone else. Um, it takes a lot of courage, and anybody can pretend, and put on that armor, and anybody can fake the confidence. We've all heard fake it till you make it. But when it comes to this, you can't. When it comes to honesty, vulnerability, that takes real strength. That's what being a man is, being able to do that regardless. Um, and I think, man, we're starving for those safe places. We're starving to be able to speak honestly without immediately being attacked, without the, why are you like that? Why do you do this? And, we're hungry for this. We're hungry for those open spots. There are men out there that are sitting in silence right now. You might be one of them. You might be sitting next to one of them. You might be watching this in bed and your husband's sitting right there and you just turned over and looked at him, didn't you? And you're wondering what's going through his head. What is he actually feeling? Here's the thing. He's not going to tell you. I'm going to be very real about that. He's not going to tell you because he has been conditioned his whole life to say, I'm fine. I'm good. I don't have any problems. I'm all right. But the day he can be really vulnerable is going to be an amazing day. Um, Men, we're crushed by divorce. We're crushed by loss. We get overwhelmed financially, you know, watching your child, your spouse, your parent, your friend, whomever suffer from illness. It's scary, losing purpose. We drown in shame. We feel abandoned. We carry trauma that nobody has ever helped us process. I'm speaking for myself. I know I have. And I've been on that journey of healing, for some years systematically. I remember in 2021, one of my favorite people on earth, he was my grad school professor. He passed away. And, he's a decade older than me. So that's insane to even think about. I can't even comprehend that. And I was at work when I found out, and I literally just broke down and started bawling in that moment. There was no hiding, there was no shame. I'm in my office, and somebody comes and looks at me, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, are you okay? What's going on?" I told them I took a couple days, and because this was a man that I really loved and I really admired, and he's someone that I could see myself in a lot of ways. And because of that, it crushed me. But thankfully, I had the room to feel crushed without the shame. Um, I wasn't told to get over it. I wasn't told to stop crying. I wasn't told, guess what? Other people have it worse. What's wrong with you? There are homeless people. There are hungry people. Guess what? Yeah, there are, but they're not feeling my pain like I'm not feeling theirs. I wasn't told that I'm weak. I wasn't told to move on in that moment. I've been told all that stuff before, and I'm almost certain you have to. The kind of response can push anyone into deeper and deeper darkness. And when I say I'm feeling depressed, I think that's what did it for me too, because it just told me you are not allowed. You're not allowed to speak. You're not allowed to have these feelings. Man up, suck it up. But think about all the men we've lost. And when I say men, I mean teenage boys and young boys too that weren't given that space to express their feelings. My kids, when they're sad, yeah, I want them to be strong, but I want them to feel what they feel. I tell them it's okay to feel what you feel. It's okay to cry and be sad and scared and all these things. But there's room for that. And then later, when you're feeling a little better, we're going to work on processing it. We're going to build those emotional muscles. I'm I'm not the best at it, but I'm working on it. Just trying to give them that space. And you never know how close someone is to giving up, and you never know what the conversation is that's going to save their life. One moment of listening, it can really, really change the course of someone's actions. Just talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and it was a she, and she was just pouring it out. And I just listened and loved on her because I was there. And of course, I'm not going to turn her away in her hour of need because who am I to ever do that to anyone? Um, I think sometimes we underestimate compassion and how powerful it is. It's crazy just how much compassion really just explodes in us, and it helps us to be seen and heard, and we feel cared about and loved. Um, People think your compassion means making an excuse. I'm struggling today. Oh, we're just making excuses for everything. And don't get me wrong, there are those people who will use that weaponize whatever's going on. It's not even weaponized incompetence, it's just weaponized struggle. Um, and that's not what I'm saying. Compassion is accountability, but those two are not mutually exclusive. They're not enemies of each other. Accountability needs to go like, hey, I'm loving on you. I feel you. Now, what do we want to do about it? How do we change this? How do we make it better? Um, you can challenge a man and still love him. You can say, hey, we're supposed to go do this, so let's go. I said, I know you're hurting. I know all these bad things happen, but guess what? I am here and I'm not going to let you drown. I'm going to help you get up. I'm not going to pick you up, but I'm going to hold your hand and I'm going to help you get up. We do have to learn that progressive struggle of coming through things. I'm a big fan of Rocky Balboa. I'm a huge fan. And Rocky Six or Rocky Balboa is one of my favorite movies. It's not about how hard you can hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward because that's how winning is done. Now, people think that means doing it alone and standing on your own 2 feet, but a boxer has a corner man. They have a cut man, they have all this stuff to make sure that they can fight properly, that they can see that they got water, they're toweled off, they got Vaseline, all this stuff. They make sure that they have what they need. They're not going into a fight alone. You have somebody for a stool. And if you ever saw Here Comes the Boom, sometimes you're the stool. Um, we don't want to be ashamed. We grow more through that connection than we ever will with shame. Shame will isolate us. Compassion will transform us. And there's a reason people remember the individuals who believed in them. I remember my professor, Dr. Manley, because he cared. He was there. You say, hey, you call him up, hey, Dr. Manley, I'm really struggling with this and I just don't understand. Guess what? Boom. Oh, Joshua Way, what do we need? And he helped me figure these things out. And it helps so much more than I even realized in that moment. And then, but there was safety there. And my big brother, there's safety there, and growth and compassion and love. My big brother is more like a father to me than my own father because my own father wasn't there. But, and so he loved me. He helped me to feel my feelings even when he didn't know how to navigate that himself. And that safety, it allows so much healing in here. I think one of the biggest issues today, though, is we don't actually know what brotherhood looks like. We really don't. We hear all about these alpha males, alpha wolf guys, who's tougher, who makes more money, who gets more women, who wins arguments, who looks stronger. They're all about the muscles and looking bald and all this craziness. And that has nothing to do with anything that matters. I plan on being married to one woman for the rest of my life. And we've never really experienced that healthy support. So we idealize all of this. I work with kids and they idealize all this and all the wrong things as much as I'm trying to steer them. And I pray one day they will, they'll get steered and they'll see what I'm talking about, experience what I'm talking about, not all this temporary stuff. Um, Another man is important to help to build that community, that support. There are things that we can talk about that women will not understand. There are things that we can feel that they will not understand. And iron does sharpen iron, and that is a grind. That's not smooth. It's gonna hurt. You're gonna step on each other's toes, and it's gonna suck sometimes. But you come out the better. Some men grew up without fathers, some grew up around abuse, some grew up being mocked anytime they expressed emotion. And the saying is true, hurt people hurt people. But heal people. I think men need a few things urgently, desperately, emergently right now. I think purpose. Let's just start with that. Men are lacking real purpose. I can pay the bills, I can lift the heavy thing, I could discipline with the best of them. But what's my purpose? Direction, whether that's occupationally, whether that's maritally, paternally, spiritually, direction has to go somewhere. Um, but brotherhood, we need brotherhood. We need those people that are gonna be in the fire with us and to forge us into something better. And honesty. We need people that are gonna say, dude, you're off track. Stop watching those types of videos. Stop talking to that girl online. Go to work. Get your butt up and go to work. Oh, you don't have no money? Well, because you won't go to work. You want more money? Work harder. Sometimes we do need that. Yeah, but we don't need, well, you're weak. You're a loser because you're sad. We need much more than that. We need greater than that. We need compassion and love. Everyone needs compassion and a love that won't just leave us high and dry. In these spaces where we can speak honestly without fear of being humiliated. Um, we need people who listen. I'm here to listen anytime. All I do is listen. That's not true. I do feedback, but it has to come before some kind of lecture. Sometimes a lecture is necessary. Sometimes you need that come to Jesus moment. I like to call it the road to Damascus moment. If you know anything about that, it's really awesome and it's one of my favorite pieces of history. Um, we need reminders that don't make us failures. We need we need reminders of those struggles, but it doesn't make us failures. And honesty. I'm gonna tell you that your breath stinks. I'm gonna tell you your shoes are two sizes too small. It's gonna jack your feet up. I'm gonna tell you those clothes look whack on you. And a lot of men simply need to ask, how's it really going? Are you okay? What do you need? And not surface level, hey, how you doing? Good. I'm dead inside. Not casual. What's up, dog? Things going good? Yeah, kids good? Yeah, okay, peace. Real concern. Hey, you look sad. What's going on? Dude, you've been divorced for about a year now. What's up with you? How are you feeling for real? I love you. Many men have mastered being able to hide the pain, jokes, work, silence, anger, distractions. But inside, guess what? We're exhausted, we're crying. There are a lot of famous comedians, and just some of the stuff I've watched, they said, but I've been in pain. I'm sad. I was sad for years. I was on antidepressants for years, and nobody knew. Because guess what? We're masking it. That manic energy is a mask. It's saying, help me, help me. There's nothing soft about caring for anybody, guys. There's nothing weak about listening. There's nothing effeminate about compassion. And here's the thing, some of our strongest, men in history were compassionate men. My favorite person in all of history of all time, yesterday, today, and forever is Jesus. He's all about compassion and love, but he's all about honesty and healing and accountability. He is the way, the truth, and the life. He said, "You brood of vipers." At one point, I'm like, I don't know how we'll feel about that. Told Peter, "Get behind me, Satan." Ouch. But real strength is being able to carry power without losing humanity. It's being able to have all these things. Yeah, you're gonna feel angry sometimes. You're gonna feel scared sometimes. But guess what? It's okay. It's okay to feel those things. It's what you do with them that's gonna matter. It's all right for a man to listen, and it's okay for a man to open up. If somebody's struggling, guys, help them. Point them in a direction if you don't know how. Because you never know how badly somebody's going to need that compassion in the moment. And maybe instead of asking, why are men suffering in silence? We should be asking, how can we create environments for men to feel safe to speak? The conversation matters. And I think it's time that we start having it honestly. And honesty, and honestly, part of why I decided to start this men's group, is because I kept seeing this everywhere. And I'm doing this because I can't remember all this. I'm sorry. Um, I keep seeing it everywhere. Men are carrying pressure alone. Men are feeling like we have to suffer in silence. We're being mocked instead of helped. And the truth is, we want support. We want the support, but not knowing where to go without being judged. It's hard. So I wanted to create a safe space where men can actually speak honestly, a place with accountability, growth, leadership, and challenge. But here's the thing, it comes with compassion because I do love you guys. I love everyone, even when you don't believe me. It's the truth. Because I don't know if I could hate anybody except the Steelers. Steelers. But who said that? But I do. I don't want harm to come to anybody, even by your own hand. So, a place where men can build each other up instead of tearing each other apart. This isn't about pretending life is easy. It's about learning to walk through life, stronger, as strong as possible, healthier, and together. The group, for men, it starts June 5th. It's a 6-week group. I'm going to do it in a rotation, and then I have another one for couples on June 6th. If you have a spouse and you're like, hey, lady, lady in my life, my love, my queen, you should hear some of this. I am shameless. But in this group, men can join from anywhere. It's going to be all online, and we're going to be talking about leadership, emotional health, like I've been talking about right now, discipline, on relationships, purpose, okay, okay, stress, identity, and how to stop carrying everything alone. If you've been feeling exhausted, if you've been feeling isolated or stuck, overwhelmed, or like you've been carrying everything by yourself, here's the thing, this group may be for you, and it may be exactly what you need right now. So what you can do is you can contact excelsiorcoaching.org, or you can contact me directly. I have an Excelsior Coaching Facebook page and an Instagram page, as well as I have a phone number, 360-451-1214. Um, and then I have an email, excelsiorcoaching21 at gmail. if you're really needing something, I really encourage you to reach out. You know, you don't have to do this alone. And, give it a shot. You have nothing to lose, right? I love you, and I just wanted to take a little bit of your time, and I've done it. So I just have hope you have a blessed time, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye bye.